Well, good evening, friends. Welcome once again to Syracuse Basketball Postgame, presented by Krause Health, as Syracuse basketball falls to 13-12 on the season, 7-7 in the ACC. Their four-game winning streak is over. Winning streak overall is over at 4 games. Virginia Tech extends their winning streak to 5 games. That's the longest winning streak currently in the ACC right now. Syracuse falling by a final score of 71-59, a game where the offense dried up in the last 10 minutes of the game. Buddy Boeheim, the only Syracuse player to score a field goal in the last 10 minutes of the game until Cole Swider hit what turned out to be a meaningless shot with 30 seconds to go. At one point, Syracuse missed 10 three-pointers in a row, a lot of hero ball, a lot of rush shots, and Virginia Tech, which closed the first half on a 15-3 run, also closes on a big run. This game was tied at 54 when Buddy Boeheim hit that shot with 6:56 to go. So despite the poor shooting in the first 5 minutes or so of that stretch, Syracuse was still in the game, but Virginia Tech just kept attacking in the paint, attacking the basket. Justin Mutz with just the second triple-double in Virginia Tech history. What a game for Mutz. 12 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists, and Mutz was left up top at the high point, free throw line in the high paint there just to distribute the ball left and right. He had a huge dunk. He traveled on that play. There's no question about that. Teddy TV and his crew made some questionable calls in this game. Not why Syracuse lost by any stretch of the imagination. You got to shoot the ball down the stretch to win these games. But he did travel on that play. Huge momentum swing. And like we said, Syracuse just could not score down the stretch, and Virginia Tech pulls away for the win. So the Hokies are now 15-10 on the season. Also for Virginia Tech, Keve Aluma, their center with 20 points. I think that Frank Anselm answered the bell in a lot of ways, but didn't in others. It was kind of a split thing for him. And when you're down to your backup center, you're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul in a lot of ways. But as we'll go over the numbers here shortly, Frank did well in some ways, but Aluma, Lumen in the paint for sure with 20 points. Hunter Couture started off the game, 3 quick threes, didn't hit another 3 after that. He ends up with 14 points, though, on the night. All told, 5 Virginia Tech Hokies in double figures. For Syracuse, just a couple guys really played well. Joe Girard was one of them. He had 16 points, though it took him 6 of 14 shooting to get there, but 4 of 7 from three-point range. And one of the few guys to score there in the second half for Syracuse, although nobody scored down the stretch. Buddy Boeheim did lead Syracuse with 21 points. I really wouldn't classify this as a good game for Buddy. 8 of 19, 4 of 10 from three-point range. Key turnover down the stretch. A lot of hero ball, a lot of jacked up shots, a lot of rush three-point shots down the stretch. So while he did lead Syracuse with 21 points in 38 minutes, it was just kind of by accumulation, if you will, for lack of a better term there for Syracuse. Those the only 2 players in double figures for the Orange. Jimmy Boeheim really struggles in this game. 2 of 9, 6 points, 6 rebounds for him. Cole Swider with just 8 points. He did have 10 rebounds in this game, but his hot streak of scoring cools off considerably here. And we mentioned Frank Anselm because remember, this is the first game, folks, without Jesse Edwards, who suffered the wrist injury and is out for the rest of the season. 6 points, 15 rebounds on the day for Frank Anselm. There's really not much more you can ask that guy to do in 37 minutes of play. They tried to give Barama Sidibe a run. The guy's played 8 minutes all year. He's so rusty and picked up 3 quick fouls. So I don't know how much we're going to be seeing of Barama going forward if that's what he's going to do when he comes in. But look, Frank the Tank, he held ground. He held his ground. He's not an offensive threat. There's no illusions about him being an offensive threat in this game, but he rebounded, and he did what he was asked to do out there in this game for Syracuse. But again, you're down to your backup center. You got to take what you can get there. So close shooting match in this one. Virginia Tech was 23 of 60. That's 38%. The Orange were 24 of 64. That's 37%. Syracuse and Virginia Tech both attempted 27 three-pointers, with the Orange hitting 10, Virginia Tech hitting 8. But it was even on the rebound. So with so many things even here, where did this game tilt? Well, there's a couple areas where this game tilted. One is this: Virginia Tech assisted 20 of their field goals. Syracuse with just 9 assists. They did not move the ball well. As we mentioned, a lot of rush possessions, a lot of hero ball. Syracuse had 11 turnovers in this game. That turned into, let's see here, 17 points for Virginia Tech. The Hokies only turned the ball over 4 times in this game. That was a huge swing for Virginia Tech, who beat Syracuse in the paint by a mark of 26-16 overall. So that's how things go in Blacksburg. And this was another quad 1 opportunity for Syracuse. To see your comments coming in hot and heavy. We'll start highlighting some of those as we go here, guys. Appreciate you always watching tonight, wherever you are tonight. Always appreciate you coming by. In this one, I see a lot of the same faces and names that we see on Twitter during the game. So appreciate you guys coming by to the post-game show as well. Syracuse just couldn't shoot the ball down the stretch, despite some of those things we mentioned. It's a tie game at 54, and the big momentum swing. The Buddy Boeheim turnover, forcing a lot of shots. The Mutts, unbelievable, went up real high, somehow snagged the ball out of the air. He did travel on that play, but that was a huge momentum swing for Virginia Tech. But man, you got to hit shots. This team had 2 field goals total, but like we said, one by Boeheim with 6:56 to go, and the next one wasn't until Cole Swider scored with 30 seconds left. I mean, you're just not going to win games if that's going to be the case. So Syracuse now 0-5 in quad 1 games. Not that the NCAA tournament was, look, I wrote about it this week. I talked to Joe Lenardi about it this week. I just wanted to know what the path was. As slim of a margin as it was, like, just give me the path. Give me just that. What is the path? What does Syracuse have to do? There's no room for errors. I call it the no room for errors tour on the radio. You lose another quad 1 game like this with 3 to go. I mean, it's just not possible now for Syracuse unless they win the ACC tournament. Game, set, match. And now without Jesse Edwards, again, I think Frank Anselm did a terrific job tonight on the boards, but you need that offensive scoring punch from Jesse, the balance out there. It puts way too much pressure on the perimeter game, as we saw tonight. That's what kept Syracuse in the game, but you live by the 3, you die by the 3. They died by the 3 because they missed 10 in a row down the stretch. So, yeah, that dream's dead. This team's not making the NCAA tournament. If I'm wrong about that, you guys can circle back and tell me how wrong I was. Mark the tape, as we say in the radio business. 8:27 p.m. here on Saturday, February 12th. Selection Sunday is a month from tomorrow, and you are not going to hear Syracuse's name in that show. If I'm wrong, come back and tell me how wrong I am, but I ain't going to be wrong about that one, friends, as we saw tonight. So now this team has to figure out what it can do down the stretch without Jesse. They could scratch out a couple more wins. You certainly want to see them finish above 500, but that's what they're playing for now. And, man, that took a lot of air out of the building and out of everything when Jesse Edwards and that injury came to light. Didn't even notice that he got hurt. Nobody noticed he got hurt at the end of Tuesday night's game. He just kind of comes out, says he has a sore wrist. They examine him. They go a little further, and he's got a fractured wrist. I mean, just fluke injury that can happen at any time. Enough of me. Let's hear from you. Great stuff from you guys, as I'm seeing here in the comments. So let's roll through them here. Mickey says, Frank the Tank played well. Antonio watching from L.A., home of Super Bowl 56, saying that was a winnable game. It absolutely was. Got the Rams taking down the Bengals 30-27, by the way, in the Super Bowl. So for entertainment purposes only, Bengals cover the 4 in that one. Doug says that ended poorly. Game tied at 54. Buddy turns it over for a dunk. The game changed on that play. Lori says so close. Great play from Frank. A lot of compliments for Frank here in the comments, as should be. As Julie says here, Frank did great, and he did. Frank answered the bell. This is a guy that got limited minutes in place of Jesse Edwards, but had played enough with Jesse getting into foul trouble this year that he could feel comfortable. Did I see him playing 37 minutes in this game? No, but he had to, because Promise at eBay was just lost out there. I mean, God bless the guy, but he's only played 8 minutes all year, and he's not going to come in and make that bit of a difference. And he hit 3 fouls in 3 minutes. He just can't do that, right? So no complaints with Frank in this game. He did exactly what was asked of him to do. Made a couple of nice offensive plays as well. Got blocked in there a few times, and it was an adjustment for him for sure. But do grab 15 rebounds. I mean, what more can you ask him to do in this game? Christian says Virginia Tech still has the ball at the high post, looking to do something with it. Yeah, Mutz gets the ball in the high post and did what he wanted with it. This was textbook beat the zone stuff. Get the ball at the high post, kick it out to the shooter, get the ball at the high post, find the back door. Syracuse just could not stop it all night long. Brian says the no-call sequence to Mutt's dunk, and then the wheels came off after that. I mean, look, that was a big play. It was a momentum play, but you got to shoot the ball, right? And as Adam says here, turnovers, no point game. See, that's it. I mean, if you want to say the game swung on that call, you can go ahead and say that, but you got to make shots. The turnovers were huge. Virginia Tech had 20 assists to 9 for Syracuse, only 4 turnovers for Virginia Tech. I mean, there's a lot of things that add up here. As Iris notes that Cole Swider didn't shoot well. Cole Swider had been white hot these past few games in that 4-game winning streak. I guess he was kind of bound to be off a little bit because now teams can focus on Cole. They don't respect Frank enough offensively, and really you shouldn't, to really drop back and worry about that defensively. You're going to push your defense up. You're going to challenge those shooters. And Cole was just not getting the looks tonight that we had seen him get in the past few games. Ronnie says totally exposed against a middle-of-the-road ACC team. I mean, they're the hottest team in the ACC right now, for what that's worth, with the longest winning streak in the league at 5 in a row. Michelle's in Super Bowl 56 land as well. Sad results, some really frustrating officiating. Orange will need to find their rhythm in a hurry without Jesse. Why is it that when Teddy TV is in the building, like, weird stuff happens every time? It's like he knows he's got to live up to his reputation, right? There was one call, like, if you're going to call some of the ticky-tack stuff, and again, don't take this as why Syracuse lost. This is in no way, shape, or form why they lost. Just pointing it out. If you're going to call some of the ticky-tack stuff they did, particularly on Jimmy Boeheim in this game on a couple of plays, Frank Anselm goes up, is double-teamed, lots of contact on the play. You don't call that? I mean, Teddy, what are we doing here, man? Every time Teddy TV's in the building, there's 4 or 5 just WTF calls every single time. Michael Antonio, got to have better players. Syracuse is too big to fail, yet here we are. Christian with the why no 131 at all to slow the high post. I'm not sure who did color commentary on the game. I caught the name earlier, but I if you guys know, pop it in the chat here. But my man was saying Syracuse had to play man-to-man defense down the stretch, which is hilarious because this is the least athletic Syracuse team I've ever seen. And you want that team to play man-to-man defense, let alone they just don't do it, right? What difference that would have made, I don't know, because it was missing shots and moving the ball that cost this team. It wasn't necessarily, I mean, defense is always important, of course, but I got a kick out of that. I thought I heard it, and then I saw a few people, shout out to Brian Higgins, I retweeted him. I'm like, I thought I heard that. Like, what are we doing here? That's at least we can laugh about that. Brian points it out in the chat here because hashtag free throws matter, friends. Syracuse only got to the free throw line 4 times, and they were 1 of 4. Virginia Tech 17 of 21 at the free throw line. There it is. There's your comment, Brian. Yes, 17-1 free throws made in this game. That's not a stat you see often, but it does go to show you why Uncle Brent says that all the time, right? Free throws matter, friends. Michael says, typical ACC road game, hard to close out on the road. The turnover at 54-54 that turned into the easy bucket was it. That was huge. That was big. That, if you could point to, and Syracuse went from that point, so there's 6:56 to go when Buddy makes that shot. The turnover after that, they go a solid 6 minutes without a score. On the road, at home, on the moon. You're not going to win a game if you don't score in 6 minutes down the stretch. And Virginia Tech also went on a 15-3 run to close the first half of the game as well. Jimmy says, why does the ACC continue to employ Ted Valentine in their games? Jimmy, I don't know. I really don't. I mean, he's right up there. You go through the names in the past, right? I'm drawing a blank here. Just some of those great refs of the past, Higgins and who's the other one I'm thinking of back in the Big East days used to drive us crazy all the time. Jimmy Burr, right? Teddy TV. He's on the Mount Rushmore of, it's the internet. I can swear, but I won't. But let's just say he's on the Mount Rushmore of screw that guy. Those refs are just, every time they walk in the building, you just groan. There's some refs when they walk in, I'm like, okay, good. It's going to be a good game. Roger Ailes is one of them, right? John Cale was a good ref. We don't get Pat Driscoll. Shout out to the Bishop Ludden alum because he can't ref Syracuse games, but he's a terrific official. I wish he could because he's awesome. But whenever Teddy TV walks in the building, you just know we're going to be groaning. Steve What up, Steve in North Syracuse? Points off turnovers, 2-17. Big one there. Steve also points out Cole and Jimmy had 10 points in the first 7 minutes and 36 seconds. 4 points all by Cole after that. Yeah, that ain't going to get it done, folks. Let's see. Al here, big factors. TOS, lack of Swider, Jimmy ineffective. Chrissy says Frank, Joe, and Buddy played a good game. Too many turnovers for Syracuse. Again, I wouldn't say Buddy played a good game. I know that sounds harsh with Buddy scoring 21 points, and Buddy lit a fire for this team in the second half. At times, he also jacked up a ton of threes when he didn't need to. The turnover at 54-54, about 6 minutes to go, was big. Couldn't get it going in the first half, which Virginia Tech was harassing him on defense. I'll give him that. So he did lead the team with 21 points. I'm going to kind of meet you in the middle and say it. Don't just look at the numbers. Buddy did not play well generally, but he fought, scratched, and clawed, made some plays, kept Syracuse in it. Would I say it was a great game? No, I wouldn't say it was a great game. Do agree with Frank and Joe, though. I think Frank and Joe had terrific games under the circumstances, right? Brian says ESPN can't keep doing these 10-minute interviews during the game. Yeah, listen, I appreciate what that gentleman did for Virginia Tech. And I think what they planned was that interview to go from one segment to a TV timeout. That's usually how they do those things. And it just so happened that stretch of time was very long. That's tough to do, man. That's a tough gig. I've been there doing play-by-play, and they ask you to do an interview, and it's like, look, your viewers are watching for the game. I think a circumstance like that, like they did with Will Sadat Singh for Syracuse, right? Show a graphic, talk about it for 30 seconds to a minute, coming out of a break, you got your bases covered. If you want to show that guy in the stands, be like, hey, he's here tonight, great. But I don't think we need, and that's on anything, really, no matter what the subject matter is. Our friend Anish Shroff, a couple games back, was interviewing the ACC commissioner, and it was a close game, right? It's like, come on, we do it at halftime, right? Like, we don't need this stuff during the game. I understand why ESPN does it from their standpoint, because you can't get away from it, right? But yeah, I'm with you. We don't need that long of an interview for any subject. I don't care who's there. I don't care if Snoop Dogg's there, rolling blunts, while he's watching the game. He'd be very entertaining, right? No, we don't need it. We just don't. Let's see. I agree with you there. You guys are reminding me about those old Big East refs. I know I'm forgetting a couple names, but Higgins, Burr, and Cal were the names that jumped out. Cal was actually a good ref. I like John Cal. He was fair. Let's see. Bruce says Buddy had too many turnovers and bad shots. Cole did not have a good shooting game. Can't disagree with that. Lori says looking for the highlight reel at the end, but didn't finish. Al notes that Buddy's usually smarter than that. They were smothering him, but without Jesse, we're easier to guard. That's a great point, Al. This is a team, and you're going to see it going forward here, no matter who Syracuse plays. Without that threat of balancing out the offense with the ball going inside, and now you got a defense on its heels because you can't leave Jesse open. He's too much of an offensive threat. Frank's not an offensive threat, right? Jimmy can be an offensive threat at times, but usually when he steps out and shoots, he's not an offensive threat around the basket. So you can allocate more resources to the perimeter and harass Buddy. Joe still had a great game, but harass Joe. Cole was off his game tonight. I don't think that was a coincidence, right? So that's going to be tough because the more film there is of Frank and teams can kind of get at him and frustrate him. He did a good job not getting into foul trouble tonight. That might not be the case going forward, depending what kind of officiating crew you get on, how aggressive he's being asked to be. He was smart about it tonight in this game. He picked up a couple early fouls, and I thought he was going to foul out, frankly, but did not end up being a threat there. He got 37 minutes in, and while we're looking at it here, where did he end up? He only ended up with 3 fouls on the day, so that's good for him. But they are easier to guard at this point, and they're a one-dimensional team as it is. So that's going to be a tough run here down the last 6 games for Syracuse, especially when you're playing centers like Mark Williams at Duke, Armando Bacot at North Carolina, Aluma tonight. I know that Mutz was the big player for Virginia Tech but Aluma had 20 points and had an easy, I mean, how many times that guy got fed on the back door and no one was there? He found the key under the mat, opened the door and said, anybody home? Boom. There's a dunk in your face all night long. Let's see. A couple more from you guys here. Let's see. Michael says, Buddy shot selection in the second half. Not good, but I get it. He knew the only other points were coming from Joe Girard, but the shots hurt us. Let's see. Jeff says, Roland Blunts watching the game is the only way some Syracuse fans got through the season. We'll save some. We got 6 games to go. 7, if you include whatever postseason play they have. So at least one ACC tournament game. And then beyond. Remember, Syracuse has to finish above 500 to qualify for the NIT. And at this point, even that's in question at this point. Michelle says Snoop is DJing at the LA Kings games. Yeah, and he's the halftime show tomorrow. Who's ready for the big halftime show? Snoop, Eminem, Dre, Kendrick Lamar. Don't forget Mary J. Blige. Let's go. We got a Hokie in the house. Josh says you guys are a good team and will destroy a lot of teams. Blaming TV in the interview is not classy. Respect you guys and wish you luck. Our guys are peaking and a lot of things that could have went much better for us all. I don't think anybody's blaming Teddy TV. We're just pointing out Teddy TV's Teddy TV. And I think the TV interviews are just too long in general, not just the one tonight. It's just, during the game, we just don't need 9-10 minute interviews with anybody, right? Even if it's Snoop, as we said earlier. So appreciate the Hokie perspective. Check it in, though. And Virginia Tech, Josh, 5 in a row. They're playing the best basketball of the year. Mutz with the triple-double. I like Aluma, great player to watch there. Who knows? Virginia Tech might play their way back into the conversation. They're going to have to make a run in the ACC tournament to really be in serious contention for a bid because the ACC's bids are so limited this year. But, they were a fun team to watch. I mean, not fun from a Syracuse perspective, but you got to respect the way they're playing right now for sure. Let's see. A couple more from you guys here. Let's see. Ira says, anybody else disappointed? Benny missed that dunk. I'm disappointed because it just wouldn't have been a hell of a play. It would have been a heck of a highlight for a kid who needs an offensive highlight. See, the disappointment there, Iris, is Benny needs an offensive play. I've seen him on defense. He had 4 rebounds in the last game. He just hasn't had that breakout offensive play all year. He's trying to find where his comfort zone is in the paint, trying to find his way offensively, and that would have been a huge breakout play for him, but he's still looking for it. He's going to get some time. Let's see, what do you end up minutes-wise tonight? Benny only played 3 minutes in this game. I think you're going to see some opportunities with Benny when they go to that smaller lineup at times, but had he made that dunk, maybe it would have spurred something for him, but he's getting there. Richard points out the obvious here. They missed Jesse in the middle. And they're going to miss Jesse in the middle. And, man, you got to feel horrible for that kid. He was on his way to being the most improved player in the ACC. His confidence level around the basket. Frank brought something that Jesse didn't tonight, and that Jesse's not that powerful of a rebounder. He can certainly get some boards with his size and his presence around the basket. But, man, Frank went after it. And I think he's a better rebounder than Jesse at this point. If you kind of combine the two, I'd certainly rather have Jesse out there. But Jesse was just so fun to watch, coming into his own as a player, and was gaining a lot of reputation around the league, really around the country. He was one made field goal away from having the best field goal shooting percentage in the country, and then wrist injury takes him out rest of the year. Now, thankfully for Jesse, it's not a serious injury. It takes about 5-6 weeks to recover. They basically stick a pin in his wrist, and he's good to go. It's not like an ACL injury or something that's going to linger in the next year. That's the good news. The bad news is it's going to take him out for the rest of the season, and we won't see him until next season for the Orange when he is back. As Vince points out, we'll end on this note. Without Jesse, no inside game, just hoisting up 3-point bricks. Yeah, you missed 10 threes in a row down the stretch. That's pretty much all she wrote, friends. So there you have it. That is our postgame show for tonight as the Orange lose to Virginia Tech. Final score of 71-59. And we're going to take a week off here. I'm not taking time off. That's the next time Syracuse plays. But after that, friends, it's going to get intense. We're going to be hanging out together a lot here down the stretch. So let's give you the upcoming schedule. Syracuse has a week off. They will next play Boston College at home on February 19th. That's a noon start. So hang with us for postgame right after that game. And then they turn around and play Georgia Tech on Monday the 21st. That's a 7 o'clock game. They played Notre Dame on Wednesday, the 23rd. Then the Duke game on February 26th. That's a 6 o'clock start at the Dome. Then they turn around 2 days later and they play North Carolina. That is an intense stretch of basketball. You are playing, let's see, you are playing 5 games in, 7 days? If my math is right there. In 8 days. You're playing 5 games in 8 days. BC, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, Duke, North Carolina. And look, BC, Syracuse beat, but they've got a lot of big guys in the middle that could give Syracuse trouble. I think Syracuse should beat Georgia Tech. Notre Dame, a quad 1 game, road game, not an easy thing. Duke is Duke. And I think without Jesse Edwards, Syracuse they're kind of doomed in that game. Then you go to North Carolina with Baycott looming in the middle. And then you take a week off there and they finish against Miami, another top ACC team. So it's going to be tough for Syracuse to fight, scratch, and claw and finish above 500. But that's where we're at here with this team right now because they slipped to 13-12 on the season with the loss. All right. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl, okay? I got Rams 30-27 over the Bengals, covering that +4. But so many prop bets out there. Take heads on the coin toss. Take clear on the Gatorade. It's usually water. It's not even usually Gatorade. What else? Take the under on the national anthem length. Take the under on that. I could go on forever here, folks. Just enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll talk to you again next Saturday here on Syracuse Basketball Postgame, presented by Krause Health. Thanks for hanging with us, everybody.